welcome to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
Today's episode's about fashion trends of our childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't tell you when our childhoods were. You'll just have to guess.
Well, I think they already know now how old we are. But, and I mean, when we're talking about our fashion trends, they'll probably be able to guess. So there. Yes. I mean, I can't really think of mine as a kid. I remember
I wonder
certain
if that's because
things.
you're a boy and fashion means nothing to you, really.
I mean, fashion does kind of mean nothing to me. I mean, I wear what I want to wear.
Yeah.
And I do it stylishly. I think. I mean, sometimes, but I've always kind of emulated, when I got into my teens, I kind of emulated fashion from the 60s or the 70s,
Well, now I've only listed up to maybe 12 or 13.
12 things.
No. I mean,
up to the age of 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
11, 12, 13, somewhere around there is
yeah,
basically when
I guess I've stopped it there too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Yeah, because
I think I've stopped it, yeah.
Because I could have kept going up into high school, I guess. But I think for me, when I'm thinking back on when I was a kid, I think that the fashions that were in style were a lot more interesting than when I was a teenager. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so for me too.
Because some weird stuff was popular when I was a kid. When I'm thinking about it, and I didn't really even have to Google trends from then too much, because I can have a pretty vivid image in my head of what those trends were. I can remember what I personally wore, what other kids at school wore, what were the hot things that everybody wanted to have,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think, when I think back to my childhood, I mean, from up to it was, I was going to say the decade then. You see, but we're not telling you. You see, we're not telling you.
We didn't plan on not telling you, but...
But now it's become a theme. Oh, yeah, they probably already know. I mean, it was all very, it was it was a period where things were changing. It wasn't like this whole decade was one way and, like it was in, the 60s or the 70s, But, yeah, no, I mean, I vaguely remember when I was a kid... shell suits were popular.
What in the heck are those? I'm kind of disappointed that you couldn't remember more, because I'm really curious.
I just wrote down some things and I was like, oh yeah.
I'm really curious if the trends were different in Britain than they were in America.
It's what we used to call shell suits, basically a tracksuit that was made out of.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Now? Well, I have them on my list, too.
And they were always in, purple and pink, kind of, geometric pattern.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember having, maybe a blue one, too. But they were kind of, shell suits, and they had, zip up front. Like
a tracksuit,
It was like a tracksuit, yeah. And it was that's what people used to wear all the time.
But it was that kind of swish material,
yes,
right?
It was, and
a nylon.
Everybody, it was shell suit, I can't wear a shell suit because they're a fire hazard.
Oh, yeah.
I knew, and there was that kind of thing when I was a kid, especially up in small town Scotland, where I was wearing one and this kid was like, oh, my friend was wearing a shell suit on bonfire night and it caught fire and he burned to death.
Oh, God.
In his shell
is that
suit.
true, or is that an urban legend?
It's like an urban legend or something, you kept saying. But no, it was a flammable. I mean, every material is flammable, but I think it was kind of like a polyester type material. I don't know what it was, but it was oh, yeah. And then there was this big thing, you used to say about the shark attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
It was this thing about, oh, yeah, shell suits, they're very flammable. Don't go near fire with them. They'll catch fire, you know. because of all the stuff that's being made, you know.
So what he's referring to when he says the shark attack things, it's that thing in the media when one thing happens, like someone gets attacked by a shark off the coast of Florida.
Someone burns to death in their shell suit, and suddenly it's, oh.
So then they're looking for other stories
that are like that, yeah.
Because
and of course it becomes,
that was such a big
scaring
story.
the parents.
Yeah. Then it becomes like, oh, this is an epidemic, you know, when really it's like, oh, so many people probably go up in flame in those suits every year, but it's just this one year that we're deciding to report every little incident, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that basically.
But I remember I used to wear them all the time, and of course.
Now wait, because there were two different kinds. I have on my list what we called them. So that's one of the things on my list.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go spoiler, you know.
Spoiler.
We called them wind jackets.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had the wind pants. But sometimes you would just wear the jacket with whatever you had on as a jacket, you know. And we called them wind because, like, you were standing in the wind and they'd kind of, like, balloon out like a parachute.
Yeah, that's what the shell suits would do, too.
Yeah, they balloon out like that, like a parachute type of thing. But they also had, and I don't know if this was before or after that, the same kind of, like, matching jacket and bottoms, but they were a little bit of a thicker, heavier polyester, and they were not the wind material. They were more like almost the kind of like thing you could still find today, you know, like but a little bit like shiny. Like they were polyester, but they just weren't that wind kind of material. They were a heavier material.
Yeah, I remember those things.
Yeah, but you're talking about the wind ones.
Oh, my shell suit. I got my shell suit on.
Why do they call it shell?
Because it was like a shell kind of like material. That there was a lining to it.
Yeah.
And then the outer material was like a shell. You know, they used to call it a shell. And they still do, don't they? Like, sometimes
there weren't really linings, though, on the ones that we had. I mean, sometimes there was like a net lining.
I don't know why they called it. Yeah, I didn't actually do any research on why they called it a shell suit. Maybe it was a regional thing in Scotland. You know, it's my shell suit, you know.
That's so funny. That's so funny that, like, who
suit.
popularized those? Where did those come? Why were those popular, you know?
they were like late 80s.
Yeah.
Like a late 80s thing.
You just ruined it.
No, I didn't, actually. Because that's not the decade that I was a child in. I don't know, well, kind of was, but, you know.
Late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
Early 90s, yeah. Well, the next thing on my list is light-up trainers.
Oh, yeah!
Light-up trainers! They were LA Lights, they were.
LA Gear.
LA Gear, that's it. LA Gear.
Oh my god, yeah.
I had a pair of them. I remember a couple of kids had a pair of them, and I was like, I want them.
Yeah, when you're a kid, that's so
you know,
fun,
it's like,
isn't it?
You know, and they're walking around, you can see bling, bling, bling. They were red lights back then. They can have all sorts of lights now.
They still have them.
They still have them, but it's like, you know, they were so cool because they just come out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want a pair of them. And I think I got a pair for my, like, 6th or 7th birthday. And I was just, like, walking around in them. And I remember they were black and white. And, you know, they had them in the heel, the lights. You know?
Yes, yeah.
Walking around with the lights. And they were just... And I remember some old geezer, you know, going, oh, I shouldn't be walking around with them on. Because this is in Scotland, too. Shouldn't be walking around with them on because, you know, you confuse people driving their cars and, you know.
What?
He was just giving me a hard time.
What do they think is happening?
So, oh, yeah, because, you know, it was... Up in Scotland, it was around winter time. It was dark, and I'd be walking on the road or something. You could see, blink, 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 my lights going, oh, it's confusing. They can't see you. They just see these lights. They might, they don't know what that is. I remember this dour Scotsman giving me a hard time for walking on the side of on the pavement, you know, and he was on a bike, I think.
That's hilarious. Yeah. you know, you told the story about the sort of urban myth of those tracksuits going up in flames, you know. I'm sure there was something associated with those shoes, too. Like, when they first came out, people thought dazzling. You could get electrocuted or something from them.
Oh, maybe that was another thing, but I just remember this.
If they got ruined, or if you
lights are stupid.
Or maybe it was just my grandma. I can vaguely remember my grandma going, oh, you know, you have to be careful going in, like, puddles and things like that, because there's, like, batteries in those shoes. And,
yeah.
You know, you can get a shock. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about those. Those did come out when we were kids, didn't they? And they were so cool. Yeah. They were so super cool.
Yeah, I mean,
my nephew, though, I mean, he's a kid now, and he used to have the little Ninja Turtle ones, and he still thought probably that they were just as cool as you and I thought when we were kids, you know, like, they're new to him, so it's just like, oh yeah, look at these, they're so awesome, you know. But I remember sometimes you could find them, and they were really sensitive, like you barely had to move at all, and the lights would just go crazy. Yeah. And then sometimes you really had to knock them to get the lights
I remember doing
up.
that a couple of times. I also remember when they ran out. You know, when ran out of light.
Oh, I don't know.
And I was like sad I had to throw them away. You know.
God, I must have been harder on my shoes than you were. I would just like wear my shoes out like really quickly.
The lights just went out on them, you know, they stopped lighting up anymore. And I was just like,
God, that is so cool.
Yeah, but
they make them for grown-ups now, though, you know.
Well, yeah.
I
haven't seen a pair. I've seen a.
They light up all the way across the whole bottom of the shoe. I've seen before, and then they have
these were just in like the side of the heel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were just red lights.
Just in the back.
You know, just like LED,
like little tail lights.
Like little tail lights, yeah, like that's what confused motorists on the Isle of Arran. You know, I don't know, yeah, oh God, there's so many weird and weirder characters up there, you know. Another shoe, funnily enough, that was omnipresent in my childhood was Doc Martens.
Oh, yeah?
They were like all over the place. Those Doc Martens, yeah,
like the boots?
Girls, like
Doc
girls.
Marten lace-up boots.
Yeah, lace-up boots. Yeah. Girls usually would be wearing them a lot. And I don't think I ever had a pair of them.
Yeah,
but I always remember
expensive over here.
Oh no, they were like a fashion thing, and you know, girls will wear them, and they wear like the long kind of like stockings with them, I guess too. That carried on well into like the early 2000s.
I guess they were popular over here too. The sandals. Did you guys have the Doc Marten sandals? They were quite like a big gladiator style, thick, chunky type of sandal.
Yeah, I think that does sound familiar.
Yeah. God, you're bringing back so many memories. I forgot about those.
The Doc Martens. Yeah, they were black and they were yellow. Mm-hmm. There was some of the yellow too as well. Yeah, but they were like clumpy, like
the yellow like stitching and
yellow stitching. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was just like, you know, and it was mostly girls.
Yeah.
I remember wearing them, you know.
They're quite expensive. I mean,
they're quite expensive now because they're a classic brand, I guess, you know, but yeah, they were huge and things. And of course, dungarees. You call them overalls, yeah.
But that's a brand, is it? Is that the brand of them?
Yeah, we used to call them dungarees, though.
Oh, yeah.
In your dungarees, because overalls would be what you would call coveralls.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Like a boiler suit.
A boiler suit, that's it. Yeah, I used to call them a boiler suit.
Yeah.
That was only a fashion for me, though. I used to love wearing my dad's old boiler suits.
What?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to get in his boiler suits.
Prison inmate.
Yeah, it was, and they were. So there was like a white one and there was an orange one too, you know.
Oh, well, like a painter.
Like a painter, yeah. Used to love wearing those, and they were huge on me, but you know, I used to love walking around in them. Like, yeah, there's photos of me with it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I used to have a pair of them. Dungarees, whatever they call them, you know, overalls as you call them.
Mm-hmm.
I used to wear them a lot as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was something... I mean, I don't know if you ever wore them.
No. Overalls. Yeah.
Like, they had the strap and everything like that, you know, but I don't know if they were like a kid's fashion thing.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic kid's fashion. I mean, I think that's always in fashion. And then you have them with the shorts over here we have them in shorts also.
Yeah, I never had the shorts
overall
ones,
shorts.
obviously.
And then girls have them with a skirt, so it's like a dress.
Yeah.
It's basically like a pinafore type thing. Yeah, those are classic. I mean, I don't know.
Just a denim.
I don't know if those ever really go
classic
out of style
denim.
for like little kids.
Maybe not, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be dressed in several like items of nautical clothing as a kid.
Oh yeah,
it's always nautical clothing.
I think
sailor suits.
I think that was quite popular in the late 80s and early 90s. Nautical, yeah, because on women's fashion they had a lot of sailor type collars, like on the dresses and stuff. They had the big square like sailor type collars. Those were quite popular. Yeah, so I think nautical was, and then you had like the Sperry topsider, like the really preppy. Like JFK type.
JFK.
Yeah, like Cape Cod, sailing Cape Cod.
Yeah.
That kind of like just preppy style.
Yeah.
Was popular in general. Yeah.
Yeah. Later in the decade, though, poppers.
I have no idea what that is.
You don't know what poppers are?
No.
You never heard of poppers? Honestly,
No.
Poppers are like the best thing ever.
Mr. Popper's penguins.
No. They were tracksuit bottoms. Like they were the sweatpants, and they had the it goes up right up the side, and you used to go the poppers. Yeah, they just up the side. Yeah, I used to have a pair of them. I had like 2 or 3 pairs of them, and
all the way up the side.
It was all the way
up to the top,
all the way up to the seam. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, I don't know what
you needed to rip them off really quickly.
I mean, I guess so. Well, no, they didn't come right. They came up to like the waist, the hip, but there was elastic band there, so you couldn't like rip them off completely. And
oh no, ours did.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean, you had some that were like they only came up to like maybe your mid calf.
No, mine came up to like the thigh.
So you could undo them, and they just have them like loose for whatever reason.
And you could do like that Angelina Jolie dress. Your leg would come out like that.
Oh my god!
Your legs could come out like that.
What they were for?
What were they for?
I mean,
what was that fashion?
It was basketball. I thought over here, I don't know why, and maybe it was just a fashion over here, and then it went.
But they were
Britain.
like a pant leg.
They're like pants that basketball players would wear into the auditorium over their basketball uniform,
and then they'd be able to.
And then they just rip them off and go out and onto the court.
No,
they just pull them off like that. That way, they're not having to pull them down like they're getting undressed in front of everybody. But obviously, they don't want to come into the court with their, just their little jerseys and shorts and stuff. So
I guess so.
They'd have them on like that, and then they could just go like that.
No, mine had the elastic band on them, so they didn't
go all the way off.
They didn't go all the way off.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I remember they were so annoying because
I think it was Kappa who made them.
If you did open them all the way, then you'd have it was like a puzzle, but in the
yes.
Snap.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a hilarious bit of freaking fashion because it's just like, why does any just average person need pants that come off like really quickly?
Why do you need this?
Why do you need to be able to rip your pants off at a moment's notice?
Well, yes. Well, it's like Bucks Fizz, making your mind up, pulling those skirts off and all that from Eurovision in 1981, it's that kind of thing.
I forgot about those pants. Yeah, that wasn't until later for me, but yeah, I lived with 3 boys, so they all have those pants, I think. I don't know that I ever did, but...
I mean, my last one that I can remember wearing a lot of is red and black checked clothing.
Oh, yeah.
Plaid. It was like the grunge fashion.
Oh,
like
yeah.
But these were like thick, kind of like woolen kind of shirts,
Like flannel.
Like flannel, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember having to wear them
like
all the time.
Like you're going to go chop down a tree.
Yeah, like a lumberjack, yeah.
That's funny.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
That kind of, again, is like classic, though.
Sleep all
I don't know
night
that it's
and
ever
work
really...
all day, yeah.
I don't know that it's ever really, like, totally gone out of fashion. I mean, I see those kind of shirts in places like Old Navy every winter.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's something that just kind of, like, comes back and goes out and comes back.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, like, I remember a lot of, like, black t-shirts and white pants in the 90s worn by, like, teenagers. And
you know what? I know why you don't remember a lot of fashion trends, because you guys wear school uniforms.
Well, yeah, that too.
Uniforms to school.
And then when we were out of uniform, it was very, like, plain.
Yeah, or like yeah.
You know, it was very plain, or it'd be like a shirt with, like, just some t-shirt with just, like, a random image on it, you know, or something.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I remember a lot of that. Yeah.
But yeah, you managed to come up with several that were over here as well, but that I don't have on my list, so that's funny.
So what do you have on your list?
I kind of have like about 15 things, and I probably could have listed a few more, but I decided to just keep it, you know,
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. So when I was really little, these lace trimmed bicycle shorts were really popular. I remember I had them in like every color, and you could wear them as shorts. They weren't like the shiny basketball. They weren't the shiny bicycle short material. They were just like a cloth, but they were fitted and they were stretchy, you know.
Yeah.
And then they had at the bottom a panel of lace trim just for decoration.
Yeah.
So, and girls would wear them as shorts, but when I was little, you mainly wore them under dresses. So they but dresses that were a little bit shorter so that they would be seen. They'd stick out, you know, and then it would be like part of the outfit, you know.
Yeah.
Or you'd wear them under a shorter pair of more looser fitting shorts, like contrasting colors, or like if the shorts had a bunch of colors and patterns going on, you'd pick out like a pair of those bicycle shorts that were like in one of the colors as like, you know, coordinating.
Yes.
I don't know, but that was a big thing. And then to go along with that, lace trimmed leggings. So it was the same thing, basically, only if your full leg, and then it had the little panel of lace around the ankle.
Yeah.
It was like just a little strip of lace around the bottom. Yeah. So like the leggings of today, only with a little strip of lace at the bottom. And stirrup pants.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember those?
I vaguely remember them, yeah.
Did girls wear those in Britain?
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, I had those, and I really liked them. I don't know why, because they were a little bit annoying, depending on what kind of shoes you had on. They were like leggings, for anybody listening who's just like, what in the world are you talking about?
But they had like a little, like, stretchy
elastic band at the bottom,
so your foot went in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just went under the middle of your foot.
That would have been annoying, though.
And kind of just kept your pants in place. I don't know what the point was. I don't know why. And you would usually wear it like over your socks. Obviously, if you were wearing socks, I guess. But yeah, those were big. The shoes that I can remember that I absolutely lived in when I was little, jellies.
Jellies, you're obsessed with jellies. You're talking about jellies all the time.
They were so
jellies.
They were so comfortable.
My little side ponytail.
Jelly sandals, you guys. I don't know if anybody remembers them from when you were little, but they were just so comfortable. There was just like a soft
jelly material,
a soft plasticky material shoes that were like little sandals, and they had them that would buckle on, or the kind that you could just slip on, that were sort of like that were sort of like a peep toe ballet flat. Yeah, in all colors of the rainbow, and I just love them. They were like little pieces of candy. They were so cute. I wore them all the time. But as far as like shoes, Keds. Did you guys have Keds in Britain?
No, I don't know.
It's like the absolute most basic tennis shoe ever. It's just like...
you see in Britain...
It's like a cloth. Yeah. It's like a cloth tennis shoe, like a canvas tennis shoe.
Oh, right, yeah.
And usually there would be solid white laces.
Oh, yeah, like a boat shoe.
Is that what you call them?
Yeah, like a deck shoe or something, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they actually came out in like...
White shoes were like the big thing in like the late 80s and into the 90s.
Yeah.
Because, people would wear like denim jeans and like white trainers, sneakers, high topped usually. Some of them would be.
Yeah.
And you know, like with like maybe a bit of a tongue on it, you know.
Yeah.
A big tongue.
My LA Gear light up shoes were high tops, I'll have you know.
Yeah. And they'd have like that, and a white T-shirt, you know.
Yeah.
And that was like the 80s, 90s look.
Yeah.
Of so many people, you know, when I look back at
stonewashed jeans.
Stonewashed, you know, when I look back on people or footage or something like that, and it's just like, oh, yeah, everyone was wearing that. That was like the thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, it was, you know, casual.
Yeah.
Know?
So these, I think Keds, they actually came out. I mean, I don't know if they came out, but the style of them, I think, came out more like in the 50s. Like, they're this type of shoes that girls would wear with a poodle skirt, you know? The little white tennis shoes, little white socks.
Little, like, deck shoes, yeah. I mean, I think I had a pair of them, too.
And the style to wear your socks with them at that time was they were going to be socks that showed, and you folded them over.
Oh, yeah.
So you lift them up like that, and then you'd fold them down once.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Dresses with puffy sleeves were big when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you wanted if you were going to go to a fancy party, you know, a Christmas dress. Christmas dresses always had the big puffy sleeves. That meant it was a fancy dress, you know, if it had the puffy sleeves. Stonewashed denim, we already said. And denim everything. Jean jackets, yeah. Stonewashed denim skirts.
Oh, my sister used to wear jean jackets all the time that were too big, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she used to
What
wear
about the skirts, too? Like, sometimes they would be like, it would be like fitted at the top and then puffy at the bottom.
Yeah.
It would kind of poof out like that, like a bell shape. And then trends. Headbands were huge. Girls would wear big bows.
Yeah.
I had bows in every single color, and my bow always had to match my
Scrunchies.
outfit. Scrunchies were not until later. So scrunchies were more like when I was a teenager, I think. Yeah, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was like bows, though. I would do French braids, and I would have to have a great big bow at the bottom of the braid, or like a ponytail with a bow in it, you know. And then we had this trend in America. I don't know if it was a thing over there because it came from the show, Mayim Bialik's show, Blossom. And it was the Blossom hat.
Oh, yeah, on the top of
and
the
head.
And
it was basically, tell me if you guys remember this, because I was just,
Blossom.
When I was making the list, I was like, oh my God, those hats. You know, it just came to my mind.
It was like a sun hat.
It was a sun hat. So the bottom part of the hat would be left down like a sun hat, but then the front part you'd wear it flipped up like that. And sometimes they made them on Blossom. It was like it would have a big flower there, you know, in the middle. Yeah, usually a big flower, I think. Like,
I remember all that. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I remember them.
What about vests? Were vests really popular?
Yes, I used to wear my sweater vests.
Yeah. Waistcoats?
Waistcoats, yeah. I used to wear waistcoats when I was a kid. And I mean, I was always kind of well-dressed as a kid. I remember I used to have a little tie.
Yeah, me too.
But the tie was like...
I was like fashionable as a kid.
The tie was like one with like elastic on it. It had elastic. Honestly, what it had is like I used to get my little shirt and stuff. This wasn't school uniform because my school tie was an actual tie. You had to tie.
Yeah.
But this was like my fancy dress was like a cardigan, like a cardigan, right?
Yeah.
I remember this, and I had like black trousers or whatever it was, cardigan, white shirt, button-up shirt. And this blue tie. Yeah. And it was like this blue polyester tie, but it was like white, the collar of it was white elastic.
Oh.
So it would go underneath the collar. You couldn't see it. You just see the knot in the tie.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was just like, it goes over my head and underneath the shirt, the shirt collar,
Yeah.
And, I remember always having to blinking wear that bloody thing. Whenever, like, Christmas parties and all that.
You made it sound like you wanted to.
I mean, but then I remember always having to wear it, and then, I don't know, I had a bow tie too. It was
oh
it
my
was the same
God.
thing. One of the it was like a blue velvet bow tie.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Hilarious.
I don't know. I
Blue
mean,
velvet.
It was like a blue velvet bow tie.
It sounds so cute, actually.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to them, but I used to wear them all the time. Like when going out somewhere.
You're going
'Cause
out to the club.
I lived in Torquay, you see, and it was like the kids had no. That wasn't them. I went to like refined shows. I used to watch like stuff that was going on in the Princess Theatre in Torquay and stuff.
Oh yeah, but anyway, the vests on my list. I remember they were always like floral or paisley, and you'd wear them with like a white shirt underneath, and then with a denim skirt or high-waisted blue jeans or something like that. Neon colored like Ray-Ban style sunglasses with the mirrored frames.
Oh yeah, I used to wear.
Oh God, I had so many pairs of those.
They were kind of like I used to have a pair of red ones that had the mirrored frames.
Yeah.
And they were wrap around,
Yeah.
like you see all the time over here.
These would be like hot pink or like, I remember like neon green or neon yellow, and then they'd have the mirrored frames. Like, oh yeah, I'm so cool.
Yes.
Wind jackets and wind pants, we've already said.
Yep.
Jabot? Did you guys, was that? Jabot. It was like.
Jabot.
Marie Francoise Jabot.
Ugh.
And it was like denim pants.
Do you guys Jabot over there?
Jeans and shorts. I remember that was like the brand everybody had to wear. And looking back at them, they were pretty freaking horrible. Like with pleats. And then they had this weird seam down the front like that. And then it would have the label in the front. And the label's what everybody had to see. So you had to be sure to tuck your shirt in so everybody knew you were wearing the Jabot shorts. And the shorts were quite long for girls' shorts. They would be like almost down to your knees.
I remember I used to have a pair of like cargo pant kind of things that were like that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What happened to them?
Another big popular brand was Umbro. Soccer shorts and t-shirts.
Adidas and Umbro, yeah. I mean, that was pretty much...
I don't know why.
Umbro was huge. Because, Umbro's a football brand. Yeah, but... They were sponsored...
But soccer has only gotten really popular.
Gola.
Soccer's only gotten really popular over here in the last...
It doesn't really...
10 years
they probably marketed it over here as just general sportswear. But
so.
For me, like, Umbro was like the official sponsor of like the England team and stuff.
Do you remember them? They were like checked. They were like short, brightly colored shorts, but they'd be checked, but they'd be monochromatic or whatever. It was the same color, but one check would be like kind of shiny and the other one would be matte. And
I think it was just general sportswear, like the England.
It was these particular
football strips,
style of shorts that were super, super popular when I was a kid.
Umbro used to do like football boots as well, the old cleats.
And the last weird thing that I have on my list, I don't know if it was an actual trend of the time or if it just happened to be the town that I lived in where it was a trend, but it was like socks that you would pull. We weren't folding our socks anymore. We were wearing them fully pulled up.
Yeah.
So they came up to about mid-calf.
Yeah.
White socks, mind you, with Birkenstock style sandals. That was and you could wear the Umbro shorts with that. You could wear your Jabot shorts with that. You could wear,
socks and sandals. That was kind of more of a tourist thing. It was more of a tourist thing.
It was the height of fashion when I was in like
when I was a kid,
grade.
I came in with a pair of socks and sandals on, and I guess because we were going down the beach or something, my dad said, "You look like a bloody tourist." You look like a bloody tourist. Take the socks off. And I was like, "No."
That is so funny. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I lived in a small town, so maybe it was just a thing there. I don't know if it was like a nationwide or worldwide trend, but it was very popular. Okay, let us know if you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know some of the trends that you can remember from when you were a kid, and
let us know.
And if you remember any of the ones that we've mentioned in this episode. Other than that, I think we're done here.
Yeah. Our fashion is over.
Thank you so much for... We could do a part 2, I guess, from
Part 2.
When we're teenagers, maybe. Trends of our teenage
I was not following
years.
the trends, but I do remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us know, too, if you want us to do a part 2, trends from our teenagers.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate your support. Be sure and check out our social medias.
We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
At TButty, TEABUTTY. And we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.